Selene and Endymion, a moonlit love story for sleep. When the moon first looked down. Tonight, as the world grows quiet and the moon rises slowly into the sky, you are about to hear a love story whispered across centuries, a story so gentle it was meant to be heard with closing eyes and a resting heart. This is a tale carried by moonlight, of a goddess who watched from the heavens and a man who dreamed beneath the stars. If these moonlit stories bring you comfort, peace, or sleep, let this moment be a soft reminder to like, share, and subscribe, so you may always return to stories told under the same calm night sky. Now breathe slowly and let the night begin. Long before cities glowed with electric light, before time was counted in hours and minutes, the night belonged to the moon. She ruled the sky in silence. Selene, goddess of the moon, rose each evening from the eastern horizon in her silver chariot, her presence gentle yet eternal. Mortals rarely spoke her name aloud, not out of fear, but reverence. When she appeared, oceans softened their voices, forests stilled their leaves, and even the gods of Olympus paused, if only for a moment. She had watched the world for ages beyond memory. She had seen empires rise like dawn and fall like dusk. She had seen lovers meet, part, and fade into legend. To Selene, time moved differently, slow, wide, and endless, like the night sky itself. Yet despite her immortality, despite the endless beauty laid before her eyes, Selene felt something she never named, a quiet loneliness. The moon sees all, but is never touched. Each night, Selene followed the same sacred path across the heavens, her silver light brushing mountains, rivers, and fields. She never lingered. The balance of the cosmos depended on her steady motion. The other gods trusted her constancy. But one night, as she drifted above a distant land of rolling hills and olive trees, something below caused her to slow. Not a temple, not an offering, not a prayer lifted toward her light. It was a man. He lay upon a hillside where wild grasses moved like a soft sea. His sheep gathered nearby, resting under the calm protection of the night. He slept not with restlessness, but with peace, his breath slow and even, as if the earth itself cradled him. Selene's light brushed his face, and for the first time in her immortal existence, her path faltered. His name was Endymion. He was a shepherd, known among nearby villages not for wealth or power, but for kindness. He spoke gently to animals. He listened more than he spoke. When others argued beneath the sun, Endymion chose the quiet hills at night. He loved the stars. And though he did not know it, he had been looking at Selene for years. As a boy, he had learned the shapes of constellations by heart. As a young man, he spoke to the moon as one speaks to an old friend, not asking for favor, only sharing his thoughts with the night. Selene had heard him before. She simply had not noticed him. But that night, something changed. Her silver glow lingered on his sleeping form, tracing the calm lines of his face, the way his chest rose and fell. There was no ambition in his dreams, no hunger for greatness. His spirit rested easily, unburdened by greed or cruelty. Selene felt something unfamiliar stir within her. Curiosity. She drifted lower, the moonlight around her growing softer, warmer. Endymion did not wake. Instead, his sleep deepened, as if her presence soothed him further. In that moment, Selene did something forbidden. She watched one mortal and chose not to look away. Night after night, she returned to the same hillside. She told herself it was coincidence, a necessary pause in her long journey. But each time her light found him again, sometimes asleep beneath the open sky, sometimes resting near a cave that offered shelter from wind and rain. She learned his routines. She learned the rhythm of his life. And slowly, silently, Selene fell in love. She never spoke his name aloud, but she carried it with her across the heavens. When clouds threatened to hide her glow, she pushed them aside. When storms gathered, she softened her light so his dreams would not be disturbed. Endymion, unaware of the divine eyes upon him, began to dream more vividly. In his dreams, the night felt closer, the moon brighter. Sometimes he sensed a presence, gentle, watchful, kind. He would wake with a feeling of comfort, as though someone had been guarding him. He did not know who she was, only that the night no longer felt empty. On Olympus, the gods noticed the change. Selene's chariot slowed. Her light lingered longer than before. The careful balance of night and day shifted, subtle but unmistakable to divine senses. Zeus, ruler of the gods, watched from his throne with narrowed eyes. The moon does not falter, he thought, yet she did. Selene knew the risk. Love between gods and mortals was never simple, never without consequence. She had seen it end in tragedy more times than she wished to remember. But this love was different. It asked for nothing. She did not wish to claim Endymion, nor to pull him into immortality. She only wished to watch him sleep beneath her light and feel less alone in the endless night. One evening, she descended lower than ever before. The air shimmered as her divine form touched the earth. Silver light wrapped around her like a veil as she stepped softly onto the grass. The world held its breath. Endymion slept nearby, unaware that a goddess stood only steps away. Selene knelt beside him. For the first time, she was close enough to hear his breath without the wind carrying it, close enough to see the faint marks of a life lived gently, sun-warmed skin, hands shaped by honest work, a face untouched by cruelty. Her fingers hovered near his hair. She did not touch him. Even gods must know restraint. Yet in that moment, Selene understood a truth she had never faced before. Immortality meant eternity without change, and love meant risk. Above them, the moon continued its journey, glowing brighter than it had in centuries. The world below slept peacefully, unaware that destiny had shifted. This was not the beginning of a tragedy, nor was it the beginning of a miracle. It was simply the moment when the moon first looked down and could not look away. And somewhere deep within his dreams, Endymion smiled. The whisper of night and dreams. Night had settled softly across the hills, a gentle silence that seemed to hum with the hidden rhythm of the earth. The moon hung high, its silver light spilling across the wild grasses, olive groves, and scattered stones of the valley below. In this quiet, the world felt smaller, as if every creature had drawn inward to rest beneath the protective glow of the night sky. Endymion stirred in his sleep, the faint rise and fall of his chest harmonizing with the distant song of nocturnal crickets. His dreams, as always, were tinted with the faint glow of the moon, though he could not yet understand why some nights seemed to shimmer differently, as if someone unseen had brushed a soft hand across the edges of his imagination. Shadows twisted into gentle forms, the rustle of leaves sounding like whispers of encouragement. Somewhere in that quiet realm of dreams, a presence lingered, warm, luminous, and filled with an emotion he had yet to recognize. Above him, Selene floated in her chariot, a serene observer of the mortal world below. Selene, ageless, immortal goddess, luminous pale ivory skin with a soft moonlit glow, calm oval face with delicate symmetrical features, long flowing silver-white hair cascading like liquid light, eyes reflecting starlit silver hues, wearing ancient Greek chiton in pearlescent white and pale silver blue tones, posture upright yet gentle, movements slow and fluid, embodying serenity, compassion, and cosmic restraint. Her silver eyes traced the contours of the sleeping shepherd. Each night she came, she felt the quiet tug of something that mortals called affection, something that stirred beneath her composed divine exterior. It was a curiosity first, a gentle wonder at the innocence of a life unspoiled by ambition, by greed, by the endless striving that so often defined mortal days. But this curiosity, she realized, had begun to root itself deeper in her being. The soft breeze carried the scent of wildflowers across the hills, delicate and sweet. Endymion inhaled it even in sleep, turning slightly, as though sensing a comfort he could not yet name. His hand brushed lightly against the cool grass, fingers intertwining with the stems of the night-blooming flowers. In his dreams, the silver glow of the moon became a presence, a gentle companion guiding him through places both familiar and strange, fields he had walked by day, forests he had never entered, hills that seemed to rise endlessly toward the stars. And always there was the faint awareness of something watching, guarding, whispering without words. Selene, knowing that the mortal could not yet perceive her presence, allowed herself a rare indulgence. She descended slightly closer to the earth. Selene, same as above, now with more subtle luminosity enveloping her form, chiton folds catching the moonlight in soft gleams. The night air seemed to bend toward her, carrying the soft whispers of leaves and the faint rustle of distant animals in harmonic rhythm with her motion. She did not touch him. She could not. It was forbidden. But the simple act of watching, of letting her gaze rest upon him without interruption, filled her with a sense of purpose she had not felt in centuries. Endymion's dreams shifted. He felt a warmth on his cheek, gentle, almost imperceptible, like the caress of a breeze that was heavier than air, a presence more tangible than shadow. In the corner of his dream, the moon itself seemed closer, brighter, almost as if it leaned toward him, a silver bridge across the dark sky. And though he slept, a soft smile formed on his lips, a whisper of comfort passing through his subconscious, as though some unseen guardian had passed a blessing over him. The night deepened, and the world seemed to hold its breath. Selene allowed herself to linger, to trace the contours of the mortal with her eyes. She watched the subtle tension in his hands relax, the twitch of a dream passing through his face, the slow and rhythmic rise of his chest. The beauty of simple life, she realized, was profound, the serenity of a heart unburdened by the complexities of immortality, the elegance of quiet virtue practiced without expectation of reward. Hours passed, though in Selene's eternal perspective, time was a malleable thing, and as the first hints of silver dawn began to touch the horizon, brushing clouds with faint blushes of gold and lilac, she rose higher, her chariot carrying her back to the higher realms. She cast one final glance downward, her silver eyes reflecting both devotion and sorrow, a recognition of the fleeting nature of mortal days. For the night would end, dreams would fade, and the sun would scatter the quiet magic she had nurtured, but she would return. Always she would return. Endymion stirred awake as the first rays of sunlight began to gild the hills. The memory of dreams lingered faintly, like footprints on the shore of consciousness, an echo of something beautiful, comforting, and ineffable. He rose slowly, brushing grass from his cloak, the rhythm of the day beginning anew, yet a soft sense of anticipation lingered within him. The night, he realized, had held something extraordinary, though he could not yet define it. As he tended to his flock, Selene watched from above, a silent sentinel in the skies. Her light remained soft, brushing the hills with its glow even as the sun's first warmth began to touch the land. Each movement of the shepherd was a meditation in humility, each breath a prayer of harmony with the world. And in her eternal heart, Selene understood that the bond between them was not yet spoken, not yet known, but it existed in the spaces between night and day, in the quiet moments where the mortal and divine brushed against each other without recognition. And in that space, love, gentle, restrained, and eternal, had begun to grow. The days that followed unfolded slowly. Selene observed the shepherd from her nightly path, always at a distance, always careful to remain unseen. Endymion's life remained simple, guided by routine, yet touched subtly by an awareness he could not yet name. He wandered the hills with his flock, watched clouds drift across the sky, listened to the wind in the trees, unaware that each night a goddess watched, that each dream was kissed with silver light. Yet even without understanding, he felt safer, lighter, more attuned to the stillness of the world. And each evening, when he looked up at the rising moon, he did so with a subtle sense of expectation, a gentle curiosity that stirred in his heart. The moons themselves seemed to grow brighter in these nights, as though the heavens themselves conspired to illuminate the connection forming in the quiet valley. Selene's presence influenced more than the shepherd. Plants turned subtly toward her light, the hills seemed greener, the night air more fragrant, and even the stars seemed to twinkle with a softer cadence. There was a harmony forming, a secret rhythm shared between mortal and sky, between earth and reality, dream and reality. And while Endymion continued to live his simple life, tending sheep, walking hills, and listening to the night, Selene contemplated the impossible. To love a mortal was to risk eternity, to court sorrow as surely as delight. Yet she did not hesitate. The mere act of watching, of caring without possession, became a source of joy, a heartbeat in her immortal life that had long been absent. And in that quiet, moonlit valley, the story of love between goddess and shepherd deepened, not with grand gestures or proclamations, but with the gentlest of truths, that attention, care, and presence were themselves a form of devotion more enduring than time. The Silver Bridge of Dreams. The night had settled deeper than usual over the rolling hills and olive groves. A soft mist had begun to rise from the earth, mingling with the silver rays of the moon. Endymion, unaware of the divine gaze watching him, wandered slowly across the gentle slopes, counting each star as though it carried a secret he could almost understand. The sheep trailed behind him like shadows, their soft bleats fading in the night breeze. Every so often, Endymion paused to look toward the horizon, where the moon hung like a guardian, its pale light stretching across the valleys. Though he did not know why, he felt a peculiar sense of companionship, something watching over him, something unseen yet intimately familiar. High above, Selene glided silently in her chariot, her silver hair spilling over her shoulders, shimmering against the backdrop of starlit sky. Each night she came, she lingered longer, drawn by an affection she could barely name, fascinated by the mortal who slept and dreamed beneath her gaze. This night, however, was different. The air itself seemed charged with subtle magic, and as Selene descended closer to the valley, the wind carrying her celestial presence, the grass beneath Endymion's feet glimmered faintly in response. A silver path seemed to emerge where moonlight touched earth, creating a delicate bridge between the mortal and divine worlds, a bridge formed of pure, gentle light, unseen by any but the two souls connected by it. Endymion, sensing the peculiar stillness of the air, stopped and closed his eyes, breathing in the night. A soft warmth traced the edge of his dreams, as if the moon itself had extended a finger to touch him. His heart stirred with something new, a fleeting awareness that tonight the night held more than just the calm rhythm of stars and sheep. He felt watched, yes, but not in fear. Instead, there was comfort, a silent companionship, a gentle heartbeat in the fabric of night. Selene hovered above, allowing her gaze to trace the shepherd's movements. She had observed him for countless nights, but tonight her interest was more deliberate. She wondered at the fragility of mortal lives, the fleeting moments that felt eternal when touched by divine light, and how something so ephemeral could inspire in her a longing that surpassed even the vast stretches of her immortal existence. As Endymion resumed walking, the silver bridge of moonlight seemed to follow him, the tips of grass brushing his hands like invisible threads, stirring faint images in his dreams. He saw fleeting visions of a woman with silver hair and luminous skin, whose eyes held the calm of eternity and the warmth of untold compassion. Though he could not recall the images clearly upon waking, the echoes lingered, leaving a sense of curiosity and wonder that colored his steps with quiet expectation. The night deepened, and the gentle breeze carried with it whispers that seemed almost musical, as if the hills themselves hummed with recognition of the bond forming between mortal and goddess. Selene allowed herself to descend closer to the path of silver light, hovering above the meadow where Endymion's flock had settled. Her presence was invisible to mortal eyes, yet she felt the delicate connection deepen with each passing breath of wind. Hours passed in serene harmony. Endymion, guided by instincts he did not understand, wandered to a small clearing where the moonlight fell thickest, bathing the ground in soft silver hues. He paused, noticing how the grass and wildflowers seemed subtly illuminated, as if the night itself was attentive. Though he could not see Selene, her essence touched the space around him, and he felt a sense of safety, a quiet joy, an inexplicable companionship that made the world feel both intimate and expansive. Selene, hovering above, watched his every movement with restrained devotion. She longed to reach out, to touch, to let him feel the reality of her presence, but restraint was essential. Instead, she let her gaze linger, letting the moonlight dance along his face, weaving a dreamlike veil that connected them without breaking the boundaries of mortal and divine. As dawn approached, the first hints of gold touched the horizon, soft and tender. The silver bridge of light faded, leaving only subtle traces of magic in the dew-laden grass. Endymion stirred, feeling the lingering warmth of dreams touched by something beyond the ordinary. He could not name it, yet his heart recognized it, a memory written in the silent language of night and light. Selene, returning to the heavens, allowed herself a final glance at the valley below. Her silver eyes reflected a mixture of longing and satisfaction, knowing that her careful attention had guided the mortal's night into peace and gentle awakening. The day began, yet the memory of the silver bridge lingered in the valley, a quiet connection that neither time nor distance could sever. Endymion moved with renewed grace, a subtle awareness that the night held something extraordinary, while Selene prepared for the following night, her eternal devotion quietly anchoring the rhythm of mortal dreams. And though neither fully understood each other yet, a bond of moonlight, patience, and unspoken affection continued to grow, gentle, enduring, and luminous, a promise unspoken yet profound. The echoes of moonlight. The night air was cooler now, carrying a delicate scent of wildflowers and the distant olive groves. The hills lay in gentle shadow, softened by the silver touch of the moon, which shone as though it had paused to watch the world breathe. Endymion walked slowly, counting each step as he moved between his sheep, unaware of the invisible presence hovering above him. The valley seemed to hold its breath as he passed, and a faint shimmer brushed the tips of the grass, as though the night itself had decided to honor his steps. Every so often, he paused to look up at the sky, sensing without knowing why that he was not truly alone, that some quiet energy followed him, protecting him, observing him, guiding him in ways his mortal mind could not yet comprehend. High above, Selene glided in her silver chariot, her long flowing hair catching the moonlight in soft waves. Her gaze traced the shepherd's path, lingering at the gentle rise of his shoulders, the subtle movements of his hands, the quiet cadence of his breathing as he navigated the hillside. Each night she visited, she discovered more about the fragility, beauty, and complexity of mortal life, and each night she felt a tender attachment deepen within her eternal heart. This night, the hills seemed to respond more vividly to her presence. The mist rose higher, catching the moonlight in delicate silver threads, forming faint illusions of bridges and pathways across the land. The olive trees appeared taller, their leaves shimmering, and even the low stone walls glistened under her gentle illumination. The world itself had become part of a quiet conversation between mortal and goddess, each leaf, each stone, each star an unspoken participant. Endymion, sensing the faint change in the night, paused once more and closed his eyes. A soft warmth traced the edge of his dreams, wrapping around him like a comforting hand. He glimpsed faint shapes in his mind, visions of a woman with hair like liquid silver, skin glowing softly like the moon, eyes reflecting starlight. Though fleeting, these images left an impression of profound peace, an intuition that he was cared for in ways he could not yet articulate. Selene allowed herself to descend closer to the valley floor, her light brushing the hills and wildflowers. She could not touch him, could not reveal herself fully, but the mere act of presence, the careful observation, the gentle attention was enough to transmit her devotion, her admiration, her restrained affection. She hovered near, her silver aura blending with the moonlight, creating a sense of protection and comfort around the shepherd without breaking the veil of mortal perception. Hours drifted by in harmonious silence. Endymion wandered to a quiet glade where the mist pooled and sparkled in the pale lunar glow. He felt drawn there, as though some invisible hand had guided his steps, though he did not yet understand why. The grass shimmered faintly beneath his fingers as he bent to examine it, and the echoes of distant night sounds, the faint rustle of leaves, the soft sigh of the wind, the gentle lowing of his flock, seemed almost musical, harmonizing with the quiet rhythm of his heart. Selene, observing from above, noticed the subtle shift in his demeanor. A quiet satisfaction filled her, knowing that her nightly presence, her careful weaving of moonlight had brought peace and inspiration to his night. She lingered, allowing her gaze to follow every motion, every breath, every unspoken emotion, her eternal patience mirrored in the calm of the hills below. As dawn neared, the first hints of blush touched the horizon. The silver light of Selene's aura began to blend with the soft golden hues of morning, creating a delicate symphony of colors that touched the hills and trees. Endymion stirred, opening his eyes slowly, a faint smile brushing his lips, as if recalling a dream that felt both distant and intimate. He felt a subtle peace, a quiet energy, a sense that the night had left him blessed, though he could not name the source.
Selene, returning to her chariot, allowed herself one final look at the valley. Though the night had ended, the bond between goddess and mortal had deepened, invisible but undeniable. She ascended higher, her presence folding seamlessly into the lightening sky, a silent promise that she would return, that her watch would continue, that her attention, care, and quiet love were constants beyond time and perception. The valley began to awaken with the subtle sounds of morning, the soft stirring of birds, the faint rustle of leaves in the breeze, the gentle movement of the sheep grazing in dew-dappled grass. Endymion rose fully, stretching with newfound awareness, his heart touched by dreams and moonlight alike. Though he could not yet see her, though he could not yet speak of the gentle presence that had watched over him, he felt a quiet connection, a promise written not in words, but in the very air, the very light, the very rhythm of night and dawn. And so, life continued, guided by invisible threads of moonlight, care, and enduring affection.
Whispers across the hills. The night carried a subtle hush over the olive groves and rolling hills. A gentle breeze swept through the valleys, carrying the faint scent of wildflowers and the earthy aroma of dew-kissed soil. Endymion walked slowly among his flock, the soft bleating of sheep blending with the rhythmic rustle of leaves. He felt unusually alert tonight, as though the quiet of the night held something more than mere stillness. The silver moon cast its glow across the hills, illuminating a narrow path that wound between the ancient olive trees. Endymion's steps were slow, measured, but there was a spark of curiosity in his eyes. Each shadow seemed to whisper secrets he could almost hear, each rustling leaf carrying a voice just beyond comprehension. He did not know why, but he felt drawn forward, as if some unseen presence guided him through the night. High above, Selene glided silently in her silver chariot, her long flowing hair catching the moonlight like liquid silver. Selene observed Endymion with careful attention, noting the subtle movements of his hands, the gentle cadence of his breath, and the thoughtful tilt of his head as he moved through the hills. Her presence was invisible to him, yet it influenced the world in imperceptible ways, the shimmer of dew, the faint glow of the path, the soft sway of the olive branches. Tonight, however, there was something unusual. The wind seemed to carry faint whispers, almost musical in tone, echoing across the hills. Endymion paused, tilting his head toward the sound, a slight furrow of curiosity crossing his forehead. Though he could not see her, he felt Selene's presence more vividly than ever before, an invisible tether connecting his heart to the moonlit skies. Selene descended a little closer, her silver glow brushing the tops of the olive trees, illuminating Endymion's path with a gentle light. She could not touch him, could not reveal herself fully, but the soft touch of her light seemed to weave through the night like a whispered promise. Each step he took felt subtly guided, each breath synchronized with the rhythm of her presence. The hills seemed to respond to the silent connection between them. Mist curled around the trunks of olive trees, sparkling faintly in the moonlight. Small streams reflected the silver glow, carrying the light in gentle ripples across the ground. Even the distant mountains appeared softened, their edges illuminated by a delicate, almost magical radiance. The world itself seemed to recognize the bond forming between mortal and divine, bending to the gentle harmony of their unspoken connection. Endymion continued along the winding path, eventually arriving at a quiet glade where the mist thickened and shimmered in the moonlight. He felt inexplicably compelled to pause, closing his eyes and taking a deep breath. Faint images flickered in his mind, a woman with silver hair and luminous skin, eyes reflecting starlight, a presence both distant and intimately familiar. He could not name her, yet his heart recognized the sensation: comfort, protection, and gentle affection. Selene, hovering above, allowed her gaze to linger on him.
Selene felt a quiet joy, knowing that her careful attention and subtle guidance had led him to this peaceful place. The silent whispers of the hills, the shimmer of the mist, the gentle sway of the olives, all were part of her influence, carefully woven into the night so that Endymion might feel the presence of something extraordinary without fully understanding its nature. Hours passed in harmonious quiet. Endymion, sensing the unusual stillness, wandered slowly along the edge of the glade, his eyes catching faint reflections of moonlight in the mist. Though he could not see Selene, her presence was tangible in the world around him. The connection between them was subtle, invisible yet undeniable, a thread of moonlight stretching across the night, linking mortal and divine. As dawn approached, the first light of pink and gold kissed the horizon. The silver glow of Selene's presence began to fade, blending with the warm hues of morning. Endymion stirred, opening his eyes slowly, the memory of the night lingering in his mind like a dream half-remembered. Selene, returning to the heavens, allowed herself one final glance at the glade below. Though unseen, her silent devotion had shaped the night, creating a space of comfort, wonder, and gentle affection. She ascended higher, blending into the early morning sky, a quiet promise to return, her presence eternally entwined with the rhythm of mortal dreams. The valley awakened gradually, with birds beginning to sing, leaves rustling gently in the breeze, and sheep stirring softly in the dewy grass. Endymion rose fully, stretching with a newfound sense of calm and subtle awareness. Though he could not name the source of the magic he had felt, his heart recognized it, and the memory lingered, a quiet, enduring bond of moonlight, patience, and gentle love that neither time nor distance could sever.
The Secret Grove. The night was especially still, with stars scattered across the sky like tiny diamonds. Endymion guided his flock along the familiar paths of the hills, but tonight a feeling of anticipation stirred in his chest. Each step he took seemed to echo faintly, as if the valley itself were listening, preparing for something extraordinary. Above him, Selene glided silently in her silver chariot, her hair flowing like a river of moonlight. She had observed Endymion for many nights, and tonight she chose to guide him to a hidden grove, known only to her and untouched by mortal eyes. The grove lay beyond a narrow path, its entrance marked by ancient olive trees whose gnarled trunks and sweeping branches formed a natural archway. Endymion felt compelled to follow, drawn by an invisible force. As he stepped beneath the arch, a faint shimmer of silver mist enveloped him, soft and comforting, as though the grove itself welcomed his presence. Selene hovered above, her presence felt but unseen, silver light weaving through the trees. She allowed him to explore, guiding subtly, ensuring that every step revealed the grove's hidden wonders without startling the mortal senses. Inside the grove, delicate flowers glowed faintly under the moonlight, their petals shimmering like tiny stars. A small stream wound through the center, its waters reflecting the celestial sky above. Endymion knelt by the stream, marveling at the iridescent blossoms and listening to the gentle trickle of water. Selene's influence shaped the grove in subtle ways. The sway of the trees, the patterns of mist, the sparkle of dew on leaves. Each element whispered her presence, guiding Endymion's senses toward quiet appreciation and calm. Though he could not see her, the grove felt alive with a gentle, protective energy. Time seemed suspended in the grove. Endymion wandered among the silver-lit flowers, traced the stream's edge, and felt the night's magic seep into his soul. The connection between mortal and goddess deepened, intangible yet undeniable. Each breath, each movement was attuned to the subtle rhythm of Selene's presence, and he sensed a silent bond that transcended words. Selene lingered close, observing his wonder and joy. She allowed herself a quiet smile,
knowing that Endymion's heart absorbed the grove's magic, that his soul resonated with the tender guidance she provided. Hours passed in serene stillness. The mist thickened slightly, glimmering under the moonlight, and the grove seemed to breathe alongside Endymion. Every step he took revealed another secret, a hidden flower, a trickle of crystal-clear water, the soft coo of a distant owl. Each discovery filled him with awe and deepened the invisible bond between them. As dawn approached, the first hints of pink and gold began to touch the horizon. Endymion rested by the stream, feeling the night's gentle magic lingering in the air. He rose slowly, preparing to leave the grove, carrying the memory of its quiet enchantment with him. Selene ascended silently into the sky, silver light blending with the warm dawn, her presence fading but leaving an indelible impression on the grove and on Endymion's heart. The valley awakened gradually. Birds sang softly, leaves rustled in the morning breeze, and sheep stirred in the dew-kissed grass. Endymion walked slowly along the familiar path back to his home, carrying the grove's quiet magic in his heart. Though he could not see Selene, he felt her everywhere, in the mist, in the flowers, in the glimmer of morning light, and knew that their silent bond would endure through every moonlit night to come.
The Whispering Brook. A gentle breeze stirred the night as Endymion guided his flock along a familiar path, leading them toward a hidden brook tucked between the hills. Endymion, early to mid-30s, olive-toned skin illuminated by soft moonlight, dark wavy hair framing contemplative face, simple linen tunic and cloak in muted earth tones, posture relaxed but attentive, gentle, deeply attuned to nocturnal rhythms. The stars above shone with quiet brilliance, casting silver reflections on the dew-kissed ground. Tonight, the valley seemed unusually alive, as if anticipating some secret revelation. Selene hovered above in her silver chariot, her hair flowing like liquid starlight. Selene, ageless immortal goddess, luminous pale ivory skin glowing softly like moonlight, calm oval face with delicate symmetrical features, long flowing silver-white hair cascading like liquid light, eyes reflective silver with starlit depth, serene yet tender expression. Ancient Greek chitin in pearlescent white and pale silver blue tones, posture upright, movements fluid, embodying serenity, restraint, and cosmic connection. She had chosen to guide him to a whispering brook, a place of delicate magic where the water spoke in murmurs only he could sense. As Endymion approached the brook, he noticed the water shimmering with an ethereal silver glow, weaving patterns that seemed almost alive. Endymion, attentive, curious expression, olive-toned skin catching silver reflections, dark wavy hair slightly tousled, hands lightly brushing the water, posture relaxed yet receptive. He knelt by the edge, listening to the soft whispers of the flowing water. The brook seemed to murmur tales of the night, the gentle rustle of leaves, the quiet hum of distant hills, the unspoken presence of Selene herself. Above him, Selene watched with tender care. Selene, serene expression, luminous skin reflecting the moonlight, hair flowing softly, eyes filled with quiet affection, chitin draping gracefully, upright and elegant posture. She allowed the brook to guide Endymion's senses, letting him discover its secrets at his own pace. Each ripple, each shimmer carried her invisible touch, a divine thread weaving through the night's gentle magic. Endymion traced the brook's edge, discovering clusters of tiny flowers that glowed faintly, their petals reflecting the moonlight like liquid silver. He dipped his fingers into the water, feeling the cool flow ripple over his skin, sending shivers of wonder through him. Endymion, olive-toned skin illuminated by soft moonlight, dark wavy hair tousled by the breeze, eyes wide with awe, relaxed posture, hands interacting gently with nature.
Every movement felt significant, every sound amplified in the quiet night, as though the brook itself acknowledged his presence. Selene allowed herself to descend slightly closer, her silver glow merging subtly with the moonlight on the water. Selene, luminous skin, flowing silver-white hair floating, serene expression, starlit eyes reflecting admiration, chitin catching moonlight, graceful divine posture. She did not touch him, did not speak, yet her presence was palpable, woven into the murmur of the brook, the sway of the trees, the silver shimmer on the flowers. Time seemed suspended as Endymion explored the brook, moving from stone to stone, following its winding path. He discovered small pools where the water reflected constellations, and he realized with quiet astonishment that the brook mirrored the heavens above. Endymion, attentive and curious, olive-toned skin catching faint starlight, dark wavy hair framing calm and awed expression, relaxed posture. Selene hovered closer still, delighting in his wonder. Her hair flowing softly, luminous skin catching reflections of the brook and moon, eyes soft with tender care, serene facial expression, flowing chitin, graceful divine posture. She allowed him to drink in the serene beauty, her invisible touch shaping the subtle ripples in the water, the gentle sway of reeds along the brook, and the delicate shimmer of silver mist curling above the surface. Hours passed in quiet exploration. Endymion discovered hidden stones that glowed faintly beneath the water, small fish that shimmered with otherworldly light, and delicate plants that bent slightly as if acknowledging his presence. Each discovery deepened the invisible connection between the mortal and the goddess. He felt the night's magic seeping into his soul, filling him with serenity and quiet joy. As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, painting the sky in soft pinks and golds, Endymion lingered by the brook, breathing deeply, absorbing every sensation. He rose slowly, feeling the night's gentle magic linger in the air, knowing he would carry this hidden world in his heart. Selene ascended silently toward the sky, her silver glow blending with the dawn's warm light. Flowing chitin catching soft morning hues, luminous skin reflecting pink gold light, hair floating softly, serene expression, upright, graceful posture. Though she vanished from sight, her presence remained imprinted on the brook, on the mist, on the flowers, and Endymion's heart.
The starry reflection. The night sky stretched endlessly, a deep canvas sprinkled with countless stars. Endymion wandered slowly through the rolling hills, guiding his flock, but his gaze kept lifting toward the heavens. Tonight felt different. A quiet anticipation hummed through the valley, as if the stars themselves whispered secrets. Above him, Selene moved gracefully in her silver chariot, her hair streaming like liquid starlight. Above him, Selene moved gracefully in her silver chariot, her hair streaming like liquid starlight. She guided him gently toward a secluded pond known as the Starry Reflection, where the heavens mirrored perfectly in calm waters. As Endymion approached, the pond glimmered faintly under the silver moonlight, its surface perfectly still, reflecting constellations with dazzling clarity. He knelt at the shore, mesmerized by the reflection, feeling as if he could step into the cosmos itself. Selene hovered just above, her silver glow mingling with the moonlight, casting subtle illuminations across the pond. She allowed Endymion to experience the pond fully, its stillness amplifying the silent connection between mortal and goddess. Each ripple, each shimmer carried her invisible presence. Endymion ran his fingers across the water's surface, creating delicate ripples that transformed the reflected constellations into shimmering patterns. The pond seemed to respond to his curiosity, shifting images subtly, dancing lights reflecting the night sky in mesmerizing motion. Selene moved slightly closer, her presence almost tangible yet unseen. She allowed Endymion to experience the starry reflection at his own pace, letting him uncover small wonders, hidden pebbles that glimmered faintly, silver-tipped reeds bending gracefully, tiny fish with luminous scales shimmering like shooting stars. Time flowed gently. Endymion discovered clusters of moonflowers along the pond, their petals curling open under the night sky, releasing a faint fragrance that mingled with the crisp air. Each flower seemed to echo the gentle rhythm of Selene's presence, a subtle reminder of the goddess watching over him. Hours passed in serene exploration. Endymion traced the edges of the pond, discovered hidden pools, and noticed the reflections shifting with every slight movement of his hand. Each discovery deepened the invisible bond between mortal and goddess, a connection felt rather than seen. As dawn approached, soft shades of pink and gold touched the horizon. Endymion rested by the pond, absorbing the lingering magic, feeling a profound sense of calm and fulfillment. He rose slowly, ready to return to his home, carrying the starry reflection's silent magic in his heart. Selene ascended gracefully into the sky, silver light merging with the dawn's warmth, leaving Endymion with the lasting impression of her presence. Though unseen, her influence remained in the pond, in the mist, in the flowers, and in Endymion's heart. The valley awoke gradually. Birds sang, sheep stirred, leaves rustled in the gentle morning breeze. Endymion walked along familiar paths, carrying the starry reflection's magic, knowing that Selene's silent guidance remained eternal, their bond enduring like the moon above.
Eternal moonlight. The night was calm, as if holding its breath. Endymion walked slowly along the familiar hillside, his flock resting nearby. The stars above seemed to shimmer with unusual brilliance, their reflections scattered across the valley like droplets of silver. Tonight felt like the culmination of everything: the hidden groves, the whispering brook, the starry reflection pond, all leading to this final night. Selene hovered above in her silver chariot, hair flowing like liquid starlight, eyes reflecting centuries of quiet longing. She had decided it was time to reveal herself fully to Endymion, to share the gift of eternal moonlight with him. As Endymion reached the summit of a gently sloping hill, a circle of silver mist appeared, swirling gently. He paused, sensing something extraordinary. The mist parted slowly, revealing a glade bathed in the soft glow of moonlight, as if the night itself had formed a sanctuary just for him. Selene descended gracefully into the glade, her chariot fading behind her, leaving only her radiant presence. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver-white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched.
Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver-white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver-white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver-white hair floating softly around her, serene and tender expression, starlit eyes filled with affection, graceful upright posture. Endymion stood still, heart pounding, unable to fully comprehend the divine figure before him. "My Endymion," Selene's voice whispered like the wind through the olive trees, soft and melodic. "Tonight our bond becomes eternal." Endymion's eyes glistened. He had felt her presence for countless nights, but seeing her revealed in full light filled him with awe and joy. He stepped forward, instinctively drawn toward her luminous form. Selene extended her hand, silver light cascading over Endymion as their fingers touched. Selene's serene expression, flowing chiton draping elegantly, silver-white hair floating softly around her,